My set design represents the theme, Human Ignorance and Greed Causes Suffering. I chose this theme because I wanted to focus on how after the death of Matthew Shepard, the town was flooded with media and reporters. Through the theme, I wanted to convey to the audience how we must be conscious of our memory and how fragile it is, but also realize how malleable history is. I decided to interpret the town of Laramie by using a circus similar to the circus portrayed in the musical Pippin, designed by Scott Pasick, who was my main influence. The circus serves as a microcosm for contemporary American society. I think a circus is effective when communicating my theme, since a circus is an ensemble of professional performers that work together to create an act, which is exactly what the people of Laramie and the media are doing. The media is over-dramatizing the death of Matthew Shepard and not understanding the severity of hate crimes and lack of LGBT rights in our society. To communicate the theme, I had to consider and incorporate a range of different elements and principles of design. I incorporated a smooth red piece of fabric that created a three-dimensional circus tent, which added to the height and perspective by creating a large shape and maximizing the performance space. By incorporating the high perspective created from the tent curve, it allowed me to create a piece of set that is visceral. Design uses symmetrical balance as the posters placed on the sides are identical on both sides and use repetition to convey my theme. The circus posters on the side of the stage represent the greed in our society, purely concerned with creating a good story that will sell, rather than looking at the real facts and issue, which is represented through the newspaper articles in between the posters. I made the proportion of the circus posters smaller than the article to convey that we should be working on understanding the issue and our impact on the situation, rather than watching the downfall of the Laramie community for entertainment. Inside my set, on the backdrop painted dark blue that represents the Laramie sky, the balance is kept symmetrical as the silver stars that symbolize Matthew are vertical on both sides to show how the issue is still present and will continue to arise unless we change our attitudes towards homosexuality. Unity is incorporated throughout the design through color, as the entire set is painted red and no colors disrupt the unity and balance. Also, above the cross, colorful balls are hung that represent the circus, but are also colored like the LGBT flag, to convey to our society that we should put aside our ignorance in order to move past tolerance of homosexuals and learn to accept them as individuals. The stars are incorporated to communicate movement and show how the issue of homosexuality is still happening. And I want to show this through the stars, since stars are so universal and can be seen by everyone, just like the problem. My design contains a lot of negative space and is very simplistic, similar to the original Laramie Project set. However, to maintain my theme of greed and ignorance, I kept majority of my stage empty without props, but still incorporating a staged platform to create a sense of level where the action that is significant to the theme may be performed. I used the positive space at the back to communicate the immense amount of struggle the LGBT community faces every day. I did this by using the LGBT flag constantly in my design. For example, I used it on the tent through stars to show how Matthew's death led the fight for equality and brought international attention to the issue. I also considered the proportion of the objects used in my set. In the area of my set that uses positive space, I included a cross shape that was stuck to the Laramie blue sky to show how Laramie was a town dominated by Christian faith. White vertical lines on the red fabric that represents the tent to direct the audience's attention to the lower part of the stage where the action is taking place. I used the color red throughout my design because I wanted to not only capture the audience's attention, but also show how the murder of Matthew Shepard caused international outrage and attention to the issue of lack of equality for members of the LGBT community. The color red is used to connotate the emotion of love, but also anger. I wanted to show the love Matthew's family had for him and the love Matthew had for others, but I also wanted to show how hate was the main factor in his death. Even though the main color used in my design is red to represent the circus, I still use a variety of hues and shades, such as a dark red for the outside and a lighter red on the inside of the set. I also used a dark blue for the backdrop and the multicolored stars hanging balls to represent the LGBT rainbow flag. All the colors placed together created harmony in the set. The height of the circus tent creates movement to make the audience feel like they're a part of the issue and that it's happening all around us. I increased the proportion of the cross, which is a symbol of Christianity, to create contrast between the hanging balls, which represent the LGBT flag. I increased the size and added emphasis to the cross to show how religion is often used to shield our ignorance towards things our society fears or does not understand, such as homosexuals. By making my design a circus, it allowed me to bring out real elements that let the audience relate to them. In the circus, I was able to make things outrageous and emphasize the use of them. For example, the cross, which represented the Christianity and how it dominated the town of Laramie. Finally, lines are used by the balls hanging across the stage and by the posters placed on both sides of the stage to create rhythm through repetition. The use of repetition is used to emphasize the message that each of us individuals hold the power to put aside our ignorance and greed and begin focusing on making a change in the way we lead our lives and the way we would behave towards those that are different.